There we go. Welcome one and all from Hollywood, California. Meltdown, Comics Nerd Melty Theater. Harmontown is now in session. Don't be alarmed that I'm not wearing a tie tonight. Just things are going to get loose. Speaking of loose, let's bring out Spencer Crittenden. Oh, shit. Solo cups down. Speaking of tights, let's bring out Mr. Dan Harmon, the mayor of Harmontown.
Thank you. Thank you for coming to my show. Thank you for coming to my show. Thank you. I know you could have done something else tonight, but you came here instead and you paid $10, and that means a lot to me. Oh, me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I really thank you. I'm full of gratitude for you.
Also, I should mention special vocal guest Jilla Biafra tonight. That was fantastic.
Not familiar with his style.
You sounded just like him.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, I think our guest tonight is he's a writer, and he wrote a movie. I'm not introducing him yet. It sounds like an introduction, but he wrote a movie I was just watching on iTunes. It's the Stanford Prison Experiment. It's a
feel-good film.
I think just talking to him about writing and talking about that movie and all of the thoughts about that is like enough. Like, I don't need to babble too much. I don't have anything that wouldn't fit within the context of a conversation with him.
No, I say you and I and Spencer, we catch up briefly. We talk about where we're at.
Do we do business?
Well, we have some business to talk about. We have some important business.
I haven't picked up my gun yet.
Right.
10-day waiting period has turned into 2 months of apparent normalization on my part. Apparently, I'm normalizing.
So someone's going to break into your house, and you're going to oh, Jesus Christ, I got to run to Burbank to get to that gun store.
It would be the story of my life. I had Batman security cameras installed all over my house, and then I was part of some weird Los
When he says
Feliz...
Batman security cameras, are like they have little bats on it, like it's like the underoos of security cameras.
Right. And then my mailbox was part of some Los Feliz wide Wet Bandits Joe Pesci, Daniel Stern mailbox raiding where two guys wanted to look at my piles of furniture catalogs really bad. And but I could have had them on camera. Whatever. Yes, of course someone's going to break in before I get my gun, so I don't get to deliciously shoot them.
But in a pre-Trump universe, if somebody was just like breaking into your house because they were poor and needed the money, you probably would just say, "Hey, like take what you want." But now you're going to feel like you're under siege.
I think it's more like in a post-Trump universe. I would, if someone's breaking in, I'm going to go, "Are you just poor?" Like, are you just out of food and money? And I'll wait for yes.
You've just told everyone that listens to this show how to break into your house without being shot.
Well, the timbre of your voice is gonna matter. You better be able to fake a very authentic Latino sounding. That's you. You're not allowed to be offended by that because I'm saying I won't shoot you. If you're Latino, that's the opposite of racism. It's reverse racism. It's fantastic. If you sound white, I will fucking pop a cap in you. And white people don't act like you don't sound different when you're coming through a window. White people come in your window like this. Can I have a cup of sugar? Anyways.
Black people come through your window.
It's in the way that you use it. They love Eric Clapton, black people. NT? Okay. NT nodded. All right. Where was I?
You were saying that all Latinos are poor and white people are rich.
Let me see. Saying that our brothers of a different color are under threat, and in a post-Trumpocalypse universe, my gun has been purchased for the sanctity of guarding my Xanadu. Not so much from the hoi polloi as from the asserters of a newfound fascist state.
So you have no desire to go scoop up this gun and take it out to the
because
range?
I've been like, well, he's not doing very good at taking over everything. He's having a bad time. He seems to be doing as badly as I would do. He's very grumpy and he's self-destructing, and it should. I don't think the gun will be needed to protect my home, because I think that the ice caps will melt. I think I should go shopping for a canoe paddle before.
What would you have to see on Twitter or hear in your news alerts that made you get right into a car and get to the gun shop? I would have to
see CNN's Brian Stelter would have to say, another great day, Trump Heil. You know,
the leader is good, the leader is all?
Yeah, like I'm keeping my eye on the journalists, the activists, the prominent folks. Like I'm keeping my eye on certain buoys. If I see them go like this, I'm like, okay, the Jaws shark is here. I don't know. I gotta go pick up the gun. What are we talking about? Don't worry, kids. I'm gonna get my gun.
You've just told a couple million people that you're currently unarmed at home right now. And if you ask for sugar, you can go right through the window.
You just fucked that up. I know if you ask for sugar, you're white, and I will fucking kill you.
Oh. Well, okay, you told Latinos that they could ask for sugar and go through the window if they could put on a nice...
Still fucking it up. No, if you're white and you don't want to get shot, go, ay, when you're coming in the window. If anything, I'm trying to yes and his fucked up racist point of view. I'm here to
I really have gone too far tonight.
I'm not going to be... It's fucked up to, like, what you do. You antagonize and you undercut, you sabotage.
It's fun to fuck with
I try to get up here and I try to speak my mind. I try to share my thoughts with people. And you're like, what about this? What about that? And I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And then I try to explain myself, and then you're like, aha. Like, am I your enemy? These kids need wisdom. They need to know what color they're allowed to be if they're coming in my window. The answer is less than white. Less than white.
I mean, I'll let the audience handle that one.
I think it's more embarrassing the amount of time someone said less than white, and then I went less than white, and then the whole audience went, whoa! My white audience was like, bingo! We are institutionally racist. Yeah, less than white, you know? What are you gonna do? It's how we see the world. Fragility. We were talking about tonight on the ride over here. The fact that the thing that made me buy a gun, the thing that I have in common with the people that we would probably, I'm assuming most of us liberal, would associate with our so-called enemy on the other side of the political spectrum. The thing we have in common, the thing that I have in common, speak for myself, is like fragility. The fact that I experienced things not going my way, and then I went and bought fucking hardware that puts holes in people, because it was like, no matter the Al Gores and dangling Chads and the whatevers and the primaries and all this shit, I had the luxury of going like, meh, systems, meh. And then like something real happened that made me actually think this is going to change my schedule. This is going to change how I have to behave next Tuesday. I'm going to be held accountable to something. And I went and bought a gun. It's called fragility. And it doesn't matter how right you are, how wrong you are, how smart you are, how logical you are. It's like, it's a thing that's associated with privilege.
You've been privileged. You're more fragile. You're going to be more reacting to things that are on a smaller scale than somebody who's maybe put up with shit that, and had to like be desensitized to it and realize that, well, oh, there's a pick your battles thing or whatever you would call it. And it's like, that's what we're learning firsthand. All of that talk, all that white privilege, all that stuff that I would get offended by, and I'd be like, well, wait a minute, hold on a second. It's not logical. See, there's nothing logical about it. It's like a gut reaction. You find out what you're made of, and it turns out to be glass, beautiful, pristine, fucking sugar glass. As soon as something goes wrong, that like fucks with your picture of the universe. I bought a gun. I turned into a fucking Sandy Hook truther. In terms of my behavior, I was just like, I want my gun.
Yeah, we should have. We could have seen some bodies if that really happened, right?
We've waited this long to share with you something special about
you already
Spencer.
like me. It's too late.
I have to say,
you've already signed off on Spencer. He's a Sandy Hook truther.
If there's any person in podcast history that could maybe get you to sign off on that, it would have to be Spencer.
Yeah, Spencer talked long enough, like 5 minutes. I'd be like, all right, maybe, I guess. Why was that coroner acting so weird? I went down a Sandy Hook hole today because I was listening to a true crime podcast, and then there was like mention of Sandy Hook, and then there was like reference. When Sandy Hook happened, I was probably doing Community, and I was probably also just like the gross, like you don't want to know about it, like most of us. But now it's like interesting. It's like the magma's cooled and the stakes seem so much higher in this different spot, and it's like all these things are like, so from a true crime perspective, Sandy Hook gets mentioned, and I started like, they start mentioning like the thing. I just started the today of all days. I like went through. I was like, what was all that business? Like, why were people thinking it was fake? What was going on? And as I was going through it, I thought it was really interesting to note that like it wasn't just like it was like you had to be a whack job to think that it was fake. But you also, excuse me, I burped. You also had to be a whack job who was absolutely convinced that Obama was like Hitler, like he was gonna get you. He was gonna, and I would personally speculate that absolutely, given the total lack of empirical evidence that Obama was out to get us, like I'm sorry to play this card, but I have to assume you're a little itty bitty racist if you really thought from the moment that he got inaugurated that you're like, shit's going down. Because if you didn't have that I think it comes down to that. I do also think it came down to something other than emails, why you were choosing with all your logical fucking things, all your speeches that you made about why you're voting this way and that way, and all your very salient points about the status quo and how to shake things up and all these things. Like, you don't like the vagina, you don't like the black people. Because I think there's other ways to rebel, and I think, but what am I going to do? What am I going to say to some kid who's like, oh, I'm going to stir things up? I don't know. But I just thought it very interesting looking at 3-year-old, like, cooled obsidian, like people freaking out and recognizing the distorted shape of myself. Like, seeing people that were so hysterical, that were so convinced that they were living in the end times politically, that in the very real moment of 24 children being massacred, that they would actually, that politics could interfere that greatly with your fundamental human need for empathy, that you would actually just skirt around it and you would rather just live in an alternate universe. You would, and I don't think every single person that flocked towards those YouTube videos that are all the first thing that comes up when you Google Sandy Hook. I think those clicks aren't all the result of mental illness. I think you have to be pretty mentally ill to like put a lot of arrows and things and freeze frames and do all the things that the people that were presenting the videos, but then there's people that They wanted it to be true. And the rhetoric about the occupier in chief, and he just wants this and he wants that. They were living in this Wizard of Oz where there was a wicked witch, and we just got to get to the Emerald City of the truth, and everyone's got to get what they want, as though they're trying to take away. We just got to throw the bucket of water, and they're just not really acknowledging the fact that what they're doing in the present moment is haranguing the parents of murdered children, It's like we're feeling that way right now. I am feeling that way. I'm feeling the way they're feeling. That doesn't mean that I'm as crazy as them. It doesn't mean that I'm as wrong as them. But it does mean that we have the ability to fucking just abandon everything that makes us good when we get excited, when we get righteous and stuff. And I was looking at my reflection in that twisted wreckage, and I have no point to any of you. This was more, so I was already feeling depressed, but now you're telling me, plus on top of that, get over myself? What are you telling me? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, I don't know, man. I watched this documentary with this guy Daryl Davis, who's the guy. Did you guys see that? It was I can't remember what the title of it is. He's a guy who he's a black guy that befriended Ku Klux Klan people for years and years. He's been that. I don't have enough time to talk about it. You should watch that documentary. Find it on Netflix or whatever, and sit through it, because he kind of it's there's a point 45 minutes in where you're kind of I get it. B.B. King played good guitar, but it feels a little bit at a certain point for the first half your things are being repeated over and over again. Then he goes to Baltimore. The shit is just happening, crazy shit. So there's millennial black activists sitting down at a table with him after you've already watched the polite whimsy of him sitting down with leaders of the KKK and skinheads and all these things, and you take from it what you will. And then he goes to Baltimore, and it gets fucking balloon animal crazy. It could just, you walk away from the whole thing, I will warn you, a little sad. I mean, because it's fuck, we're all fucked. but it also, it's not just watch this documentary about how we're all fucked. It's more watch this documentary about Daryl Davis that it puts so much shit under the microscope. I've talked enough. Talked enough. It's my show. Fuck you, people.
You haven't begun to talk. This is your night.
I'm obviously a little buzzed or something.